What's up guys, Hackman is back with another Destiny video. Today I'm going to be giving you guys a guide to the Aksis challenge mode. Now in this video I'm going to be going over a few tips that will help your team to be able to beat this in the most efficient way possible. Now, like my Vozit guide, these tips are going to be game changers. These aren't just going to be little guys that might help and I would recommend them. Like, these tips are going to be big if you follow them. Now, unlike my Vozit guide, these are going to help specifically to the Aksis challenge. And I mean, with Vozit, you kind of just have to know how to stay alive. And, my tips helped with the Vozit fight overall. But these tips are really going to help significantly to the Aksis challenge mode. So let's dive right in. I'm sure you're aware that in order to complete the Aksis challenge, you need to use the supercharged mechanic every single run of DPS that you do on the boss. So each time that Aksis teleports, you not only need a player to stun him, but you also need a player to run back to one of the servitor plates. One of them will be lighting up red. They will need to sacrifice their empowerment and supercharge the whole team, and thus their whole team will have supers, and you can move on with the fight. So first things first, you're going to have to call out your empowerments as always and decide who is where and who's going where. So the way this would work is say that there's 2 empowered people on the left and 1 empowered on the right. Then I would communicate with my teammate and say, okay, I'm gonna go middle. So what I would do is I would pick up the cannon, I would take out my servitors, and then I would go mid. And it's just as simple as that. Just one person will pick up the cannon and switch sides. So I really hope your team can follow this technique, simply because there are so many people that still think that, if somebody's empowered and they're moving to a side, a non-empowered person has to switch with them. And that's just too much unnecessary communication. You only need one thrower on each side, whether they're empowered or not empowered. Now, because you'll have empowered people running around with the cannons, you really need to hold on to that last bomb. Watch Aksis' shield, notice when it's only 1 bomb left, take it down, and then say, okay, I've got the last bomb. Let people get into their positions, and if you have time, why not use it? Make sure people are ready, make sure people are in their spots, and then you can throw it and take down his shield. So I'm sure you've seen or heard of the yellow markings on the ground on the left and right side, and I'm showing them on screen now, but this is exactly where the empowered people should be standing. Just because not only can you see the whole fight, and that's a big benefit, but if Aksis is on your side, it takes you a little bit longer to get there than it would if you were just running to the supercharged plate. So if supercharged is on your side, you can get there quick, and if Aksis is on your side, you can still get there, but hopefully leave enough time for the person with the supercharged mechanic on their side to slam. Then you can slam Aksis and continue. So with the empowered person on mid, it's pretty much the same thing, but they're just standing, very close to the back supercharged plate. Just because, then you can get to the plate really quick, but also you can see when Aksis is front mid, and you can get to him if he's back mid. Now, because all the empowerments switch up when Aksis is stunned, this means that the person who needs to supercharge the team needs to do so before Aksis is stunned. But there is a little bit of leeway room in there, just because if you stunned Aksis, that you start holding square or X, whatever console you're on, and then about 2 seconds later, that's when the whole team gets reset with empowerments. So really take advantage of this, because if you see that the empowerment plate is on your side and you start running to it and you know that you're within like 1 second of getting to that plate, just call it out and say, okay, now slam him, just because you'll still be able to get them both in there. And I've seen so many teams where the person stunning Aksis just waits for it to show on his HUD, Guardian supercharged, but sometimes that just takes too much time. So if you can communicate, you can take advantage of those 2 seconds, and in the end 2 seconds means a lot. So here's my most important tip, or I guess just knowledge I can share with you that will help you with the fight so much. Okay, so when Aksis is front mid or back mid, the plate will not light up back mid at all. Like, my team thought that, if Aksis was front mid, the plate could still light up on back mid. So we assigned the back mid person to just not even do anything. And the side people tried to figure it out, and in the end we went nowhere. We couldn't figure it out. Then I did some research and found out if he's mid at all, he's not going to go back mid. So really, the simple strategy just hardly even think about it. If Aksis teleports right, and people can be watching him, but if somebody calls out, okay, he's going right, the middle and left people just turn around and run to your plate, even if you don't see it lighting up yet. And if it lights up, call it out, and you can supercharge your whole team, and then the person can stun Aksis. And it's really quick, and just, you don't even really have to think about it. If he's not on your side, run back to that plate, and just assume that it's going to light up. And if it doesn't, then just trust in your teammate on the other side that they can supercharge the team, and you can continue with the challenge. Now, this challenge is a lot harder than Vosic, and it's not necessarily because of the mechanics. I mean, it is, but at the same time, it's kind of just because you gotta figure it out with your team, and you gotta get in the right mindset. You gotta just figure out how to do it. Once your team really knows how to do this, it's easy, and you'll almost want to do this every single run, even if it's not challenged, just because you're getting extra supers. So really, like I said, just figuring this out with your team is huge, and then it makes it so much easier. And as always, communication is such a big thing. If you can just talk with your team and get all the necessary communication in, you will be fine. So my final tip for you that's still important is just do as much DPS as you can. And really, with this fight, it's kind of as hard as you make it, just because, if you take forever and you hardly do any DPS, that means more runs you're going to have to do of stunning Aksis and supercharging, and that just makes it difficult. So if you can wipe out Aksis as fast as possible, that's going to change a ton. So what I would recommend is work on the first and second phase of DPS. Like there are a lot of teams that come together on that third stun with Dark Drinkers and whatever, and they do lots of damage, but I feel like people don't worry too much about the first and second phases. And heck, you have 3 cannons that do a whole bunch of damage. If you can just grab those cannons, even if you're empowered, and just start shooting him when you're just standing around, then you can do lots of damage. And if you're not empowered, if you're empowered, you should worry about where you're standing and where you're going, talk to the other empowered people. And this is hard, but if you're not empowered, just don't worry about it. Put everything you got into Aksis. Heck, you're getting a super every run of DPS. That's 3 supers total in all the stuns. And then you're doing that over and over and over. Use them, for crying out loud. You could get so much damage in, and people still just choose to worry about their teammates doing the right thing, even if they're not empowered. So just learn to trust your empowered people, let them do their thing, and you can do yours by doing lots of damage to Aksis on the first and second phase. So really just get this out of the way as quick as possible. Don't make this fight harder than it needs to be, and communicate well with your team. Figure out who's empowered and who's going where, and in the end, when you can just trust your teammates, you'll be able to finish this challenge easy. So I hope this video was helpful for you, and I hope that it helps your team to beat the Aksis challenge. If it was, please drop a like down below. It helps this channel to grow, and it also means a whole bunch to me. And subscribe to my channel if you want to see more Destiny uploads. This is Hackman, and I'll see you in the next video.